What is up, guys? My name is Cameron, and today I'm going to be ranking all of the 2023 World Baseball Classic teams by their uniforms. Since pool play just finished and we've seen all the teams' uniforms, I thought it'd be a good time to do this list. There are a lot of good uniforms and a lot of really tough ones, so I'm excited to see where they all fall here. I don't really have a criteria that I'm following for this like I did when I ranked all 30 MLB ballparks. I'm just going to basically go with my gut of what I think looks good and what I think doesn't. Alright, so starting off, we have Australia. Pretty unique here with the green and the yellow. Not many other countries at all use that color scheme, which I do like. These are very similar to the Oakland Athletics uniforms, in my opinion. Outside of the green and yellow, not too crazy here. I really like the boomerang that they have underneath the word Australia across the chest, but other than that, a little plain to me. I'm not a huge fan of the hat. It kind of reminds me of the Minnesota Twins new hat with the stars above it. Just based on that, I think this one's pretty middle of the road for me, all things considered, and I'm going to stick it in the C category. Next up, we have Canada. I didn't think these were too bad when I first saw the pictures of them, but after seeing them on the field, I was really disappointed. They have this really weird incomplete striping. It goes around the back of the collar, but not in the front, and it goes down the top half of the legs. It's just super weird. The font ended up looking a lot smaller than I thought it was. Even the hat confuses me a little bit with the baseball kind of taking a curve. No baseball flies like that, so I think with some changes, these could be a lot better. But from what I see on the field in the World Baseball Classic, these are pretty tough. I am going to stick these in F category. Next up, we have China, who really surprised me with these uniforms. On the hat, you can see it's a dragon in the shape of a C, which is incredible. I think this is the best hat out of all of them. And on the jersey, they stick with that same theme of the dragon being the letter C. But on the back, they also have this sublimation of a really cool, intricate design. There is absolutely nothing wrong with these uniforms at all. I think they might be the best in the entire bunch. So I am going to stick them in the S tier. I really love these ones. And I know somebody's going to say something in the comments about me ranking China in the S tier, but this ranking is just strictly uniform. It has nothing to do with the country or what I think about the country at all. Alright, next up we have Taiwan, which I am really not a fan of these. I am really not a fan of this logo, especially when I first saw it. I immediately thought it looked like a Little League logo. The uniform itself is very uninspiring. It's kind of a traditional look just with the logo that I don't like on one side of the chest. There's really not much else to say about these at all. Considering my thoughts on the logo, I'm just going to stick them in the D tier. They're not worthy of being F just because they're not awful. It's just, I think they could have done a lot better. Next up, we have Colombia. This one was pretty funny when I first saw it. Their hat is pretty decent, kind of middle of the road for me, but their jersey is an exact ripoff of the Red Sox City Connect jerseys. Same exact looking font, colors, everything like that. So I'm not sure if they did copy the Red Sox uniforms or if it was just a very weird coincidence, but they are extremely similar. I like the Red Sox City Connect design, so that saves this uniform a little bit for me, but just based on the unoriginality and the lowercase letters on the back of this jersey, I don't think I could really give it any higher than C tier. Next up, we have Cuba. There's a lot going on with these jerseys with the gradient and stuff like that, but I actually really like them. I think the home whites definitely look the best with the gradient just on the sleeve and the cursive script across the chest. The hat's okay. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I also don't hate it. I think this is a very solid uniform, and I like that they took a unique approach to it, so I'm going to put it in B tier. Next up, we have Czech Republic. I do like their hat, how they made the C and the R in the shape of home plate. I think that's pretty cool and unique. The jerseys, I'm really not a fan of. They have this really weird striping that wraps around the shoulders that I don't like. This very plain block text that looks a little too big for the jersey even. Not a big fan of these in the slightest. I am going to throw these into D tier. Next is the Dominican Republic, and I love these uniforms. The hat especially, they have that old school interlocking logo with a red colored brim. I think the hat looks incredible. The jerseys are awesome. I especially love the red and the blue gradient road jersey. My only complaint about these uniforms is that the jersey is a little bit too wordy across the front, but I have no complaints besides that. I am going to put it in the A tier. Next up, we have Great Britain, and I don't even know where to start with these. These jerseys blew up on social media during Great Britain's first game, and rightfully so. These jerseys are an absolute joke. Just incredibly plain. The font is way too small, just not inspiring at all. It looks like they threw these together at the last minute. We even saw letters of these jerseys coming off during one of the games. The hat isn't much better than the jerseys too. Very uninspiring there. They should have gone with a blue color that's actually on the Union Jack. That's just my opinion. These are just awful. There's no way to sugarcoat it. I am putting it in F tier. Next up, we have Israel, and I really liked Israel's uniforms. Reminded me a lot of the Mets throwback uniforms with the pinstripes and the big stripe going down the shoulders. I really liked the hat. It was simple, but really nice, clean design. My only complaint about these is there might just be a little too much going on with the font that they chose and the pinstripes, but other than that, I think this is a very solid uniform. I'm gonna throw it in B tier. Since we're halfway through, I'm going to take a really quick break to tell you guys about my company at the Ballpark Apparel. I just dropped a brand new season of designs, including this one that I'm wearing right now. This one's called Moai Mashers. For this season, I focused a lot on landmarks and icons with a baseball twist, and I'm really proud of how they all came out. All these designs are offered on t-shirts, hoodies, and stickers, and I think they're perfect designs to wear when you go to the ballpark. You can check out all of my new designs, including designs that I made last year, over on @theballparkapparel.com. I'd really love it if you could check it out, and it'd be the absolute best way to support me and everything that I'm doing. Next up, we have Italy. They got made fun of quite a bit when their hat dropped. It's just a plain eye on a plain blue hat, and it seems like they overcompensated for this blandness on the jerseys. The jerseys have way too much going on, all kind of details over the shoulder and under the arm. The piping goes over the word mark on the front, and the word mark itself is very busy. There's so many different shades of blue on all of these uniforms. It gets very overwhelming. Every time I saw Italy on the field, it just looked really ugly to me, and because of that, I'm going to put it in F tier as well. Next up is Japan. Japan went with a classic look for both of their uniforms. The home white pinstripe uniform is amazing. It has kind of an intertwined DNA looking pinstripes if you look close enough. I think the font that they chose is really nice. The colors mix really well with the blue, red, and gold. I'm not a huge fan of the hat. I think they could have done a little bit better there, but overall, I do like this uniform a lot. I am going to put it in B tier. Alright, next up we have South Korea. I don't really have too much to say about these. These were very middle of the pack for me. They kind of give off the vibe of those throwback Braves uniforms, which are pretty nice. I do like the font that's on the front and on the hat, but this does kind of look to me like if you were to just press randomize if you're creating uniforms on MLB The Show, so not overly impressed, but I don't mind them at all. I'm going to put them in C tier. Next up we have Mexico, and I really love Mexico's uniforms. That hat is just perfection with that awesome unique logo. They have a bunch of different jerseys, including this white and light blue and pink alternate, which looked amazing on the field. All of their uniforms looked amazing on the field. Both color combinations, the red and the green and the light blue and the pink, really popped. They looked amazing. I have no complaints at all with this uniform, and I'm going to put it in the S tier. Next up, we have the Kingdom of the Netherlands. I was really excited to see these uniforms. I thought they had a lot of potential, and I was a little bit underwhelmed by them. I really like the hat with the crown on it. The hat is incredible. The jerseys were a little bit underwhelming to me. They were really wordy on the front, and they had a little bit less orange than I was hoping that they would, so that was a bit disappointing to me. But overall, very solid. The pinstripes are sharp. The hat looks good. These are a solid B tier for me. Next up, we have Nicaragua. These are maybe the most underwhelming uniforms in the entire World Baseball Classic. Just a plain Nicaragua on the front and a plain N on the cap. No colors outside of that blue and white. Just very underwhelming with these. I can't put them in F tier because I don't hate them, but they're just as plain as it gets, so I don't really have much more to say on it. I'm going to put them in D tier. I think they could have done a lot better with these. Next up, we have Panama, which is kind of the same story as Nicaragua. I'm a fan of the hat. I think that's just because I like tricolor hats like that. The jersey's very underwhelming, just a standard block font. On the white home jersey, the lettering was also white, which I am not a fan of at all. The jersey itself almost looked a little orange on the field when I imagine it's supposed to be red like the color on the cap, so little inconsistencies there. I'm gonna also put this one in the D tier. Next up, we have Puerto Rico, who has one of the most unique uniforms in this entire set. For the hat, they stuck with the standard Puerto Rico logo. They've used that a lot over their history, and it looks solid. On the home jersey, they have a very unique design of waves with a lighthouse at the bottom. I think it works really well. I was a little nervous to see how it looked on field, but it looked great. They also have a kind of plain red jersey that looks pretty good as well. I'm giving them a lot of points for taking the risk on that design. It could have looked pretty bad, but on the field, I think it looks incredible. I think if they had done something cooler with their road uniform, I would have given them the S tier, but I think I'm going to put them in the A tier here. Next up, we have the United States of America. You might see my hat here. I am American. American, but there's no bias here. I am a big fan of the jerseys that they had. I think that USA script across the chest is really nice. They just used it for a while, so it's getting pretty old. And the same goes for the hat logo. They've been using that for a while, and I'm not the biggest fan of the logo itself. I think it's time for an upgrade for Team USA. I do like the jersey, though. I think that saves this uniform. I don't think I can really give it any higher than a B. I think the uniform set itself looks really nice, but I think it's definitely time for an upgrade. And finally, we have Venezuela. When I first saw the renderings of their jerseys, I did not have high hopes at all. They looked really busy and a lot of colors everywhere, but once I saw them on the field, I thought they looked pretty nice. My biggest complaint with these is they rock the maroon color, which is kind of standard for Venezuelan national teams, but they also have a bright red color that clashes with it on some of the uniforms to go along with the blue and yellow. So a lot going on here. I really didn't like it when they wore the maroon jerseys but still had the blue and red batting helmets. I think that was a tough look, but I think given the right combinations, these can look pretty nice. So I'm going to put it in the C tier. And there we have it. These are all 20 of the countries ranked by their uniforms. I think we have a nice little distribution here going from S to F tier. I am excited to hear what you guys have to say about these, so let me know in the comments below. And make sure to stay tuned to my channel. I am going down to Miami for the World Baseball Classic semifinals and finals coming up, and I'm going to have a vlog from every day. If you've seen the vibes down in Miami so far for this World Baseball Classic, you know that vibe is going to be absolutely electric, and I think those vlogs are going to be must watch if you can't make it down there. So make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss anything, and I will see you in the next one.